Presented by That Time I Got Reincarnated in the Same World as an Anime Podcaster, this is Shonen Jumping the Gun, the show where we set our sights on the first chapter of a manga and decide if it's a misfire or a bullseye.
Let's see how many rounds are in this magazine.
On today's episode, the case where I followed the freezing lady and she doted on me like crazy. Welcome, everybody. I am your tireless servant, cleaning hearts and minds, Moxie the Yeen, here with my frost giant with a heart of flame, Isekai Sensei-Sama, Brad. Brad, how you doing?
I'm doing just fine.
Thank you, Andre the Giant. Okay, boss. That's what he called people. We're very distracting now. Go, okay, boss. And we're covering, it's not an Isenines.
No, but it's pretty close.
But it's Isenines adjacent. I believe we are currently at the tail end, but not quite. Tail end. Teehee, future foreshadowing. Of the Weirdly Horny arc to celebrate our 69th episode. And I believe this was originally the one you wanted to do until you figured out 469 as an Isenine, until you figured out it was not actually an Isekai.
Yep.
Even though it has so many of the trappings of an Isekai.
Yeah.
Which is why Isekais don't even need to be Isekais to be Isekais.
That's fair.
It's what a sentence to say out loud.
That's why I get to read all the best stuff.
Oh my goodness. As expected, this is a light novel adaptation. It is being adapted by Chiame Hareno. These names. This
you mean Japanese names?
They could be Japanese. I don't remember things that looked like that, shaped like that. This one's fairly recent. This you have marked down that this started December 23rd, 2024.
Yeah. I have actually only read 5 chapters of this.
Okay.
Even though there's apparently 11 out.
So your notes say 11. Do you want to, because you wrote it down in normal Isenines fashion, attempt to say the Japanese words?
I'll do it. Okay.
As penance for every time I say a Japanese name and look to you as, like, please help me, and you go, no, like Rorschach.
Hyoketsu Regio-sama will follow Shirata, Mecha Mecha Dekai, Saratashimata Ken.
Is it just the word follow in there?
Yeah.
And what the fuck's Mecha Mecha?
I don't know.
Is that just some sort of, like, play on words about... I don't know. We need Ben.
I don't know. But yeah, this one's pretty new. Obviously, from the end of 2024. So, but we'll get into it.
We'll get into it after my patented Mach Speed manga Moxie summary. We find ourselves peeking in on a scene many are familiar with. It's a party with many nobles in attendance. At a table off to the side, a young noblewoman stands alone, picking at the spread. She suddenly calls out in a harsh tone, "Call the chef at once!" Tsundere. It's a term used to depicts a character with initially harsh personality who gradually reveals a warmer, friendlier side over time. But what if that tsundere person is too shy to ever drop the pretense? Your summaries always give so much more like poetic meaning to this drivel you bring me. This isn't drivel. That was mean. This one's not drivel. But still, like you give these summaries so much more love and care than they deserve. The chef is brought. I mean, I guess you're having fun. It's a creative writing experience.
Listen, I am of the opinion that if you're gonna do something, do your best. I've always lived by that.
Due to the level of quality something is deserving. The chef is brought out in front of Alicia Osland, daughter of a duke, who, in spite of the obvious difficulties in doing so, stands upright with an imposing presence. The other guests at the party whisper rumors about her being a heartless villainess. Is this our first villainess manga? No, it isn't. I think we covered another one. No, I don't remember. I'm getting distracted. We'll talk about that in a minute. Alicia addresses the chef. What exactly were you thinking serving me food at this level? I hope you're prepared for what's to come. I'm calling my lawyer. No. The chef drops to the floor in Dogeza to apologize. The atmosphere is tense, but then the soft clack of footsteps breaks the silence. Standing next to Alicia, who now has a sheepish expression on her face, is Gray, her attendant. I just want to call him Gary. I'm going to call him Gary.
Okay.
He addresses the crowd and explains that Alicia was not criticizing the chef, but praising him. The crowd continues to protest, but Gary continues to explain that Alicia was saying that she wants to hire the chef for herself. And as evidence of all this, he points to the table where Alicia was, which is now completely empty. Those tables held food for 5 people, and Alicia was alone. So is that not proof that she loved the food? Alicia and Gary leave the party. Did she actually eat it? It was super unclear if she actually ate it.
Enough food for 5 people.
Because it's like very much like I just kept getting the sense of like, oh, it's like, oh yeah, yum yum, I ate it, but it's like I gave it to the dog, I put it in the flower planter, because like there's never any panel to show you that like even give you a little evidence that's what happened. It literally just sounds like he's gaslighting everybody.
She stores the extra food in her boobs.
I'm sure. Alicia and Gary leave the party as it seems that Alicia will be scolding Gary for overstepping his bounds, but instead she thanks him and tells him he's never allowed to leave her side. Gary is her attendant, but it seems he is also her interpreter, and she only seems to let her mask slip around him, albeit just slightly. So how did it come to this? Albeit. I'm having trouble reading still. How did it come to this? Gary grew up in the slums with his deadbeat father and older sister. His sister instilled him a strong sense of chivalry. But once she left home, Gary had to contend with being alone with his father. It super reminded me of Dio and his father. Of just like drunk, messed up teeth dad going, I spent the money on booze.
Gray, come here.
Come here, Gary. No, move over, Dio. It's time for Gary Brando. After some time of dealing with their terrible situation, it comes to a head when Gary's dad steals the money Gary had been saving. I think he wants to go to night school. His dad uses all to pay off his gambling and drinking
with
debts.
a K.
Yes. Yeah, thank you. Very important to clarify in this scenario. Gary decks him in the face and leaves home. As he tries to figure out how to survive, he sees a want ad for servants at the Duke's Villa. You said wanted ad. Because he's wanted. Wanted!
Isn't that what they're called?
Are they want ads?
Wanted. Attendant.
I guess.
Pretty sure that's what they're called.
Okay. Gary is interviewed for the job by the chief butler, Maya, who is intrigued, which I guess she would be the chief maid. Isn't that how the verbiage is?
Nope.
They call her a butler?
Yep.
Cool.
Which will become more relevant in just a second.
Interesting. Who's intrigued by Gary and questions if he'd feel any particular way about working as a subordinate to a woman. Gary seems confused by this, as was I, and this is a little too honest about some other feelings he's having about her. But the two work things out, and Gary is accepted. Oh, yeah, you're right. Correct. You were also cleaning things from this summary. Maya gives a warning that Lady Alicia is difficult and to be careful, but Gary doesn't seem to think much of this. Gary meets the other servants and begins to work diligently until a scene straight out of an Otome Isekai plays out. A maid gets startled and knocks over a vase as Alicia is walking by. They're also just chatting and bullshitting and not doing their jobs. That's an important factoid in that scene, I think. She sends the maid away with what seems to be harsh words, and all the servants are terrified. But Gary sees things differently. As he cleans up the vase, he explains to another servant that what he interpreted was that Alicia was telling the maid to quickly get her injury treated. He then comes upon Alicia in front of the door to the maid's quarters, accidentally eavesdropping on them, who are saying some unkind things about her. She runs off, and Gary sees that she dropped some ointment she was bringing to the maid who was hurt. I missed that. I did not see that at all.
There was like 3 panels.
I didn't notice. Later in the garden, Alicia happens upon Gary, and after a short conversation where Gary flatters the absolute hell out of her, Alicia gets flustered and tells him to keep doing his best for her. We then get to see Alicia rolling around in bed in her skimpy pajamas as she struggles to understand her newfound feelings for Gary. She also has her stuffed, is it a teddy bear?
I think so.
She has a stuffy of some variety that she's like, oh my gosh, I'm like a later teen and I'm still playing with this thing. What the fuck? It seems that in spite of her cold nature, freezing lady, she's really just innocent and shy. Gary doesn't know what he's in for, does he? I think the thing that I wanted more than anything is that, and I guess maybe like that's on me for missing the ointment, is a slightly better visual showing that what he's saying is true, because it constantly just feels like I'm being gaslit as a reader.
Really?
Because I'm not being shown evidence that what he is interpreting is actually true, and he's not just... I mean, like, he believes it, but collectively to the world, it still sounds like he's bullshitting. Because it's like, what does it mean that she was complaining and then ate all 5 things of food, like plates of food for 5 or enough plates of food for 5 humans in the time in between that nobody saw her do that? And it's like, why didn't I, as the viewer, and not necessarily anybody at the party, not see a lick of that? Like, it just made me really mistrustful of, like, literally everything.
But again, you said complaining. But is anything she said an actual complaint?
I mean, she's yelling and being kind of a Karen about things. But, like, the moment where it's like, well, she actually means well, and she means these things. Like, A, she never apologizes, and B, we never see the evidence that shows in those moments. Admittedly, like I said, I missed the ointment, but it just constantly feels like this guy is standing for this woman who's kind of a bitch. I know that's not what's happening, but that's what it feels like is happening when I read it. I didn't get enough confirmation that's like, that's her inner monologue of like, no, she did mean that. I only get that through his voice and her going, oh my gosh, thank you. But I don't get to see it. Like, I need confirmation that it's not just, he's Bebop bullshitting.
I can see where you're reading that if you're not paying too much attention. Because I think all the clues are there, especially if you'll notice that, like, when he is actually speaking to other people and saying what she actually means, she's standing behind him like embarrassed. You know, she's blushing and everything because he's saying her feelings out loud, and that's embarrassing. Like, the reason she acts like that is because she's shy, and so she's putting on this mask of like haughtiness.
I mean, yes. But like, there's so much stuff we're described of like, it's a wonder she's a royal because she's messed up all these connections. The place itself has such high turnover because she's mean to everybody. Like, it's really hard to square a lot of other evidence we're told with the little scenes we get where only this one guy just sort of bullshits like a bunch of extra stuff from short lines.
You should also go back to that scene with Maya where she's like, she's difficult to work with. She doesn't say she's abusive, she's bad, or anything. She's like, she's difficult.
Yeah, because she wants to remain employed.
Well, she's not in front of her boss at that point. She's telling this person, do you think you can actually deal with it?
Also, I don't think you would want to say there's difficulties, but I don't think you sell a workplace as hell. I think you just serve it as there's challenges involved. I'm digging too deep. Like, obviously, like, I'm trying not to, like, I'm in the red via what I saw and what I felt. I think conceptually, I think this concept is good. I just think in the execution, it didn't flow with me, really.
I get where you're coming from. I didn't have that problem. I don't know if that's because I've read things like this before.
I think I also just think your reading of Otome Isekais means your experience in these place settings is a lot more in how they flow. And you just put up with stuff like that more in these things, I guess. I don't know.
But I didn't feel like I missed anything. Like, it all felt...
Not missed. I guess I'm saying missed. I just, like, I would have wanted to see a thing of, like, here's a cute little shot out of the corner of, like, her eating from the plates or something. Like, just something that made me actually believe...
There is only one shot of her about to put something in her mouth.
Because it's like later, it's like when she's berating him and he's like, well, you remembered my name and my face. If you didn't care about us, you wouldn't have done that. And I don't think I ever got sold on the idea of that's how she felt necessarily. Like, I know she says that and she's like, oh, thank you. But I feel like it never got communicated to me in a way that I believed it.
And the stuff with the maid,
doesn't just sound like he's standing really hard.
That was the big one of, like, putting it right in your face.
And that's the one I missed.
Yeah. Now, there was one part of that which was confusing to me, which was Alicia. Is it Alicia? Is it? We were talking about Alice earlier.
Yeah, I know. Alicia. Yeah, this is Alicia.
It seemed like she was the one who caused the maid to bump into the vase in the first place.
Yeah.
I think what actually happened was the maid was going to bump into the vase, and she was like, hey, watch out. And then she bumped into the vase anyway.
Okay.
But that part was a little unclear.
Yeah, it's like, that's the thing. It's like, this could be... Brad, this manga could have been a little more clear. A joke for no one but us. Isn't that such a lovely phrase to have?
It's called an inside joke.
You think I'm saying a regular sentence, but in fact, I'm saying more.
As opposed to an outside joke.
Correct. Which is other running jokes we've had on this series that you as a listener probably know about.
And if you're really into big boobs, once again, this is another one.
This is another one where there's a lady with huge tracts of land.
Yeah.
And
the Maya, the head butler, she's got big ones.
What's
too.
the deal with
not
that? Or is that not something I know yet?
What?
You made a point on when I said, is she not head maid? And you said butler, and then...
No, she's specifically introduced as the head butler.
Okay, I thought you said there was like something else there.
Well, because then she's like, are you okay working under a woman?
Oh, yeah.
As in to say, like...
I thought that was
there would be
are
a
you
head
okay
maid
working under Alicia.
Who's under... No, actually.
Okay, I read that as that more
she
than
was
like
talking
you're
about
working
working
under me.
her. Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Because like...
Because he's most directly working with Alicia.
Right.
But that's also because like he kind of...
Not to start, though.
You're right.
But you would have a head maid, and all the maids would be under that. And the butler is... The chief butler is above the head maid, but doesn't generally directly direct the maids.
Yeah.
But the chief butler, in this case...
Is a woman.
Is doing the job of the butler and the maids.
Yeah.
So...
A Bon Clay situation.
Yeah.
It's Mr. 2 over here.
And all of that is to be said that the fact that she's in this position is weird because a butler would never be a woman in this aristocracy setting.
Strange, but okay.
Yeah. So, although there's been other series that have the butler is a woman, and those are always great. They're always dressed in like a pantsuit, and they're like hyper capable and
heck yeah, that's what I want.
For a while, I mean, again, I've only read 5 chapters of this because that's all that I can. I could have sworn there was going to be a thing where Maya was actually his sister, but that's not what it is.
Okay, yeah, I guess because there's a thing you didn't capture in the summary because it wasn't super important that it's like his sister wants to become royalty, and it's like there was like a flicker of like, is this all a front and this Alicia is just his sister, and that's how they have this connection. It's not actually romantic, and then it's like, no, she died or she left. Like, this is clearly somebody else, and like maybe that's a dangling plot thread at some point. I don't know, but it's like I think that's what's supposed to set up like him putting up with royalty, bitchy royalty. I feel like there's cards on the table, I guess. I don't like the concept of I'll be your Obama rage translator as like it's funny, but as like actually building a relationship, it's like it's supposed to be genuine. I didn't like it like that because it just like I said, I just constantly felt like I was being gaslit about what was going on between what I was seeing and what I was being told, and it never felt like. And like I've seen that happen in other manga where it's like, oh, it was a misunderstandings is such I mean, not even just manga, a comic thing in general. But I just never felt reassured that what I was being told is actually what was happening.
I'm going to say something right now. This is I'm not meaning this as an insult.
You're free to insult me for being an idiot.
I think this had a lot to do with your reading of this and the whatever mental state you were in at the time. Because I think you missed a bunch of stuff.
I don't think I was locked in because I was not... I was reading this at my desktop and not my tablet because I thought Manga Dex wasn't working on my tablet, and then it just wasn't working anywhere because it was slow.
And I don't...
So that might have been on me. I was in a little bit of a rush, so that might be... I will take that egg.
It's not one that's for you, so I don't begrudge you of that.
No, but you're telling me, especially the ointment thing where I feel like I missed it. Like, I'm not coming at it with like... This isn't like the other Isekai we just did where I have an axe to grind from like a general emotional moral standpoint. I just feel like this was one where it's just like, I see what it's doing. I'm not against it, but I didn't get what I needed to feel like I could emotionally settle into what was being done.
Yeah.
And maybe that's just on me. And like I said, I was in a little bit of a hurry. I was reading at my desktop and not my tablet. So I wasn't as like focused on it. This is why I like reading manga on my tablet because like I'm in my room. There's no other monitors to look at. There's nothing to juggle. I'm just focused. So, like, honestly, I would reread it just to know about it, to be sure, to give it more of the benefit of the doubt. But I still don't feel like I got the emotional reassurance I needed of the confirmation between what I was being told and the reality I was being shown. And I'm like super sensitive to that in life, where it's just like somebody tells me something and it's like, that does not match the experience that I have. And I'm like kind of super sensitive to stuff like that, where it's like, are you crazy or am I crazy?
And that's sort of the joke, really, is that all of these people are experiencing these interactions with her as these like, it's harsh and everything because of the words that she's using.
Yeah.
But Gray is, paying more attention to her.
Yeah, he's seeing the thing, but I think it also does not help in that scenario to me that like he's such a stan about it.
Well, and let's be clear, he's literally just
he's a cardboard cutout.
Yeah, but that
doesn't help.
That's
not
the
bad.
point
In this
for
case,
this.
it's not bad. It just doesn't help the particular experience I had with it. I think if I could take these pieces and make something that was more up my particular alley, it's not that he was, as I said before, the Obama rage translator. It's just that he's poor. He comes in here. His lead, that is this person, is like this haughty woman who's like kind of bristly about things. Like is tsundere, and just through, less comedic specificness, like caring and just being so good at cleaning. So like they make a point that he's really good at it. Like, he kind of gets through her bristles and they start forming a pair. Like
that does continue the whole, like, he's actually really capable as a servant.
I like that. I think I just don't, I know it's like the gimmick of the manga, but I just don't like the rage translation thing. I just want it to be like, she's kind of prickly, but she has like, she's prickly, but she has her reasons, and specifically with him, like, cause it's like, I am a fan of the tsundere where the person comes in and they let the walls down for that one.
Well, and that's the thing, and I wanted to highlight that at the beginning of the
because I do like that.
Is like, yes, she's a tsundere, but like missing the part where she like lets that go.
Yeah. Maybe
which is
also
basically
I want a little bit
joke.
more time to simmer on it, but also it's like, this is what we're doing. This is the gimmick. Let's get to the gimmick. I can't begrudge rushing to the fireworks factory.
And this is one where I would be like, you should definitely read more of this, but the first chapter gives you the whole story. So it's like, you can't really go farther than that.
So is it just more scenarios?
Yeah, but obviously new and different scenarios.
Could this work about the same as a 4-panel comic?
I could see it in that way.
Maybe 8.
A lot of the actual story of this is the two of them sort of dancing around each other, with Alicia not understanding her feelings for him as the only person that understands her. I guess besides Maya. Maya sort of understands
It's a Shaft situation.
And Gray just completely not understanding that Alicia loves him, which is a normal trope. But also, it does sort of make sense here because of the way he sees her.
Yeah.
Because
the one thing that she's trying to explicitly communicate to him clearly is the one thing he's not picking up on.
Right.
Yeah, it's like these are sets up for jokes. Like, I feel like this would have more legs. Not visually, but like...
Oh, there's plenty of legs in this chapter.
Auditorily as like an anime. Because I feel like this delivered by actors would give it a lot more...
Yes.
The bit would have a lot more juice because it would have sound and comedic timing and emotions involved.
Lots of boing sound effects.
I think that would...
I just want to be clear. Like, we're in the weird horny arc.
Shots that
she has massive tits.
Did they talk about him at all?
No.
Okay. But yeah, I don't know if it would like... I think it would improve it. I still don't think it would be my cup of tea, but I do think it would be improved by voice acting. Maybe like a motion comic that's voice acted. I could see that, maybe. I think it just needs tone and it needs timing, like comedically.
Yeah.
Which I think is technically there, but I think when you can actually give it time, like it's not one that...
I think that sort of goes back to what I was saying about the way that you read it versus the way that I read
100%.
it.
And like I said, like genuinely, more so than other times where I said I'd read more, or like I think in this case it's like I'm going to reread chapter 1 and talk to you specifically about it and make like this is one where it's like I should make good on this. This isn't like, okay, I'll put my I'll put my money where my mouth is. This is like a clearly from your summary and description, I missed major details that would have fixed some of my problem. moving forward through the chapter that I do still think I'm justified in the food scene, because that was the one where I was just like, did she eat it? Like,
no,
there's
that's a fair.
Like,
yeah.
I kind of started tipped off from that one, and then never. And then the one time I was given reassurance, I missed it because I was the way I was reading it. So you were justified in your take. On it,
the food one
on
is definitely one where it's just like you got to take their word for it. Look at her facial expressions, that kind of thing.
But just like having that out of the gate as your first one is just like that's the one I think you want to be the most clear.
Yeah, that
you're not being bullshitted, which I think from all of the things it points to is you're not.
Yeah,
but.
So I really love this. This is one of the ones where I have to, like, as soon as I see a new chapter drop, I'm like all over it.
Wow. Okay.
I like the tsundere characterization, generally speaking. I'm usually not super into it, but this one in particular, where it's like, yeah, she never drops it. She's a tsundere, but only when Gray is with her because of the fact that he's interpreting it. I don't know. There's something that's about that I find so funny.
It's a dynamic for you.
Yeah.
I get that. So I guess we
should say the art is like pretty good. It doesn't have its own unique style or anything, but it's
workman-like parentheses respectable.
It's very detailed.
Sometimes it's workman-like derogatory. And this one's workman-like respectable. Respectable golf club.
So yeah, I mean, if you're sensitive to art, you should be fine with this.
If you've got an upset tummy.
What else?
I mean, you already kind of put in my head of predicting the future as like this is a series of scenes more than it is.
Yeah.
But the bones in between are their relationship.
Yeah.
But there's not like a bigger political intrigue going on.
Yeah,
yet.
well, I think there's probably
going to be
something at some point. Because again, like I'm only 5 chapters in. I can't really go, there's
this grand,
there's
the Duke.
There's this big subplot going on, or this, B plot that has to do with the royalty and all that. And it's like, I don't know. I would think for this to have legs, it would have to. There would have to be something else going on rather than just
she gets
vignettes.
involved in politics unless he gets involved in politics, and then...
I mean, that would be hilarious.
I continue to come back to Obama Rage Translator.
She's in like a council meeting with all the other nobles or whatever, and she's like saying all this awful stuff, and he's like, well, actually what she means...
But does that does that... I guess that's you said with other things, but I feel like if that's the only note it has to play, like... I don't know. Yeah, like I guess I agree with you. I think it needs more. I feel like that would get tiring really quickly. Yeah. But that's me. I get tired of things very quickly if they are all the same note. And yeah. I want more clear. I want it to be more clear. I want less being confused.
If it was more clear, then the people around her wouldn't be so terrified.
I want it to be more clear to me or the reader. I would add, honestly, just because of the setting and everything, political intrigue. Maybe siblings.
Yeah.
I like the other... I mean, you can meet all the staff.
She might have siblings. I do like the
butler that works with the main guy. I dug him.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's just another servant.
Yeah, but he was cool. I liked him. I liked his hair.
I think they're in, like, the villa in the capital or whatever, and, like... the rest of her family isn't there with her, which also is sort of why the whole thing about like, the churn of servants. But all the
more reason why in some future chapter, like meeting them or getting correspondence and either going, oh, this is where you get it from, or oh my gosh, they're nothing like there's more comedic, admittedly somewhat.
I hope it's her dad. I hope the Duke is like that. Where everybody's like, oh, he's so big, grand, and imposing, and everything.
You just want him to be...
And Gray's like, oh, you just wanted some tea and cookies?
You just want him to be... he's just king. He's just king for One Punch Man.
Yeah.
He looks so much more imposing, but he's actually never... Like, I guess, like, these are gags that it's like, I enjoy them, but it's like, okay, we've done it once or twice. Like, you need something else to move on. But in that moment,
that's why One Punch Man jumped the shark.
Yeah. One Punch Man jumped the shark by having more... trying to do... not ending. One Punch Man messed up by not being over.
Well, because they ran out of that joke to do. And they were like, let's
Should've
just
been done.
make it a real superhero
Should have
comic.
been done.
And it's like,
Should have
what?
been done.
What?
So
What?
maybe
No.
that's what this. Maybe this should be short run, or it should figure out what it's going to do and
Yeah.
mean it, and not just fiddle.
And I'd be fine with that. If this ended up at only 40 some chapters,
That's respectable.
I'd be fine with that.
Yeah. They smooch. It's very. She says, "I love you" very clearly, and he finally gets it, and they smooch, and you finish.
Good for him.
Yeah. Goodness. In conclusion, what are your thoughts, your thinky thinks, and your feely feels?
I'm gonna. I'm gonna go with a middle again. I think this is a middle between good and great. Because once again, like just the subject matter and what this is and everything, I don't think I can quite go to great.
Yeah.
But I think all the technical stuff is there that elevates it. So it's a bit above good in a technical sense.
Someday, I will, maybe in the shit arc, I will break that wall inside of you that makes you think technical features is what makes art good. Or art, yeah, I guess like immeasurably good. Someday I will attempt to break that wall inside of you, and I don't think I'm going to put a dent in it, but I'm going to try.
Okay.
Because your continued insistence that good technical skills make good art, and that those are directly connected and not just sometimes correlated. I think is a fool's thought.
There's
is somebody who does not understand how art works.
At this level, the technical part of it is important.
Okay.
When you get up to above great, into amazing and beyond, like, yes, then you're correct. You need just the technical ability is not even close to enough to get it to that point.
Well, you don't need it. It can get it to a level.
Right.
Not to get this tangent that's probably its own episode, but like it's not great art doesn't need to be built well to be great art.
Yeah.
It's the weird thing about art. You could spend years of your life slaving away at a masterwork, and it still could not be as meaningful as a vine somebody made within an hour.
Yeah.
And that's just how art works.
Totally.
Yeah. Okay.
We're on the same page with that.
Okay.
I'm just saying at this level.
Sure. So wait, you said your thinky thoughts. What's your feely feels? Good to great or great, I'm assuming.
This is my shit.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
Oh my goodness, you are.
I'm sorry.
We are so like.
This is
I'm
literally
still so surprised when we have all these like emotionally deep conversations and we see them on the level, and then we get to these things where you're like, I'm having a great time. I'm like, this is the most generic drivel. Not drivel. Drivel's being mean.
I don't think this is generic.
This isn't drivel. I do find this very generic and by the numbers.
Really?
And the fact that you come through with amazing boggles my brain. Generic. What is this doing that's not being done in other things? How many times has this story been told in different forms?
I don't think I've ever read anything like this. There are parts of it that have little pieces here and there of other things, but like
I see no flash of purpose. And maybe that's because we're getting it through the lens of it was a light novel and now it's a manga. So the author is not at the helm, so to speak.
I feel like...
But like this isn't... There's nothing... This is some nice little path, or whatever the heck the word is there that I need.
I feel like this is distilling down the comedy of a tsundere into its most basic form and presenting that story.
Counter-argument.
Where normally a tsundere is part of a larger thing.
Counter-argument. The most perfect tsundere joke that's ever been is in Undertale when you interact with the cactus and it says, a cactus, the tsundere of plants. And that's the best tsundere joke ever. End of story.
Okay.
No reaction. No sell. He doesn't give a shit, folks.
This is a manga, not a video game.
It's a piece of text that can go anywhere. Is there a manga? There's got to be a manga adaptation of Undertale, right?
I mean, a doujinshi, probably.
Probably. Yeah, I'd be curious what Japan... Tangent for afterwards. I think this is good. Parentheses, okay, boss. As Andre the Giant would say.
That's fair.
I feel this is fine.
Okay.
I know some of that is admittedly on my own reading, but I think even if I got it fully clearer, I don't think I'd be that much further up than that.
I don't think this is for everybody.
Fine, parentheses, with an inch to grow and no further.
It's funny when we do all these, it's like a lot of what we cover is like, we're like, this is for everybody. Moxie likes it. Brad likes it. It's for everybody. And then we cover this stuff, and I'm like, this is only for specific people.
Yeah, you. I know other people read and enjoy it, I'm sure. One day, despite me constantly yelling all the time about the things that I like and I don't like, you will find something that makes my brain tick. And it's still wild to me you haven't found it. And you keep missing the memo.
No, I can find stuff that you'll like. It's just none of what I already have.
Okay. I respect that.
Because that's what it is. I've been combing through my stuff.
I feel like if I tried to find something you would like, you'd already have been reading it.
Yeah.
Because I don't know where to look for that stuff.
Exactly.
I'd have to dig into Manga Plus in series that neither of us have found and go, what about this? This looks like a light novel. You'll like it.
No, you know what you do? You go ask Spubby.
That'll be too good. We'll both like it. I need something that's not for me, but is for you. I need to find in the vein of the
Spubby
things,
will have that.
In the vein of the things that I love that you don't. We need to find something that's the opposite, like these Isekai ones, where it's something you really enjoy, and I'm just like, no.
For anybody who doesn't know, on the Shonen Flop Discord, they have a channel called Out of Context Panels, where people just take screenshots or a picture of, the manga that they're reading.
Out of context panels, almost like the name would tell you what it was.
And it's, most of the time, it's like funny stuff, because it's like somebody saying this one-off line
out of context.
Out of context makes no sense. It's hilarious. So many times, Spubby will post something in there, and I'm like, I know what that's from. Oh my
goodness!
We're on the same wavelength.
You've got some stuff going on, but they've suggested us some stuff that we've enjoyed in the past. Did they just suggest Dead Account?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I heard their name recently with our own voices telling me in my headphones. Would you buy this? I think the answer is yes.
This one's tough for me because I don't know that this is, again, like, to reach the level of I would want this in my home, there's a certain level of, like, both intellectual quality as well as story quality that I want out of something. You called this
manga amazing and said it was your shit.
I know.
How is that not buy-worthy?
I would pay money for this, but I don't think I would want it physically.
Okay, I can respect. That's a distinction that I wanted to make.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which, yeah, no. It's a different thing.
Valid. No.
Of course not.
I didn't even want to say it out loud. You knew, Brad. You knew, listener. You understood. You listened. I would hope you listened to the episode if you made it this far and understood where we were at.
Nobody thought differently.
No.
If you did, come on Discord and tell us why.
High Noon?
I don't think. I mean, we're obviously far apart on our feelings, but
I'm not as
our thoughts
my rage more comes from the general concept of the things that you like compared to what I like more than the like this like again. It's good, boss. It's so good, boss.
Yeah.
Okay, boss. Like, if it's your thing and your flavor, like, I get it.
And listen, I think it's very important to be able to differentiate between something that is just objectively bad versus something that you think is bad because it's not for you. And the fact that you are able to do that makes me very happy.
I think it's okay. Like, think this one, I think the pieces there, I just wish it was more, even if it was tuned up, I still don't think it would be for me.
Right.
But I just wish it was more tuned up.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think that's fine.
That's my positive thing. I say you don't need to say a negative thing. I'm doing that just for you.
My negative thing is I'm not a tit guy.
I thought you were gonna say those tits are too big.
Actually, well, yeah, they are.
She's pissed all the time because her fucking back hurts.
Yeah, right.
Her organs are all fucked up.
Yeah, that first hero shot Did
you say hero shot?
Yeah.
That's the phrase for it. It's just really, I haven't thought about that phrase outside of like fucking Overwatch or hero shooters, but it's like, yeah, that's what that is.
Yeah.
I guess Avengers movies.
And she's like standing straight up, and it's just like,
she's not standing straight.
How do you hold those?
How much can you bench press, lady?
Jeez.
But yeah, I guess with all that, we are at the end. Enjoy. After this, one more denouement episode.
What is it?
The tail end of the Weirdly Horny arc. We'll see them. But
is that a hint?
Ooh, foreshadowing. Brad, hit me with them plugs.
Well, as always, we want to thank Sugoi Mart for partnering with us. Sugoi Mart's a retailer of Japanese snacks, drinks, toys, and merch. All kinds of cool stuff you can't get outside Japan. Our listeners can click the link in the description or use code APR15 at checkout to get 15% off their first order. We want to hear from you, so head over to our website, animepodcasterreincarnation.com, where you can find links to all our socials. Come chat with us on the Discord, which is where it's the best place to talk with us. But also don't forget to check out our Patreon. Our patrons get perks like bonus episodes, getting to vote on what we cover on heroin addiction, and getting the high-quality stereo version of the podcast early. And, of course, we need to shout out our patrons. So first and foremost, at our noble tier, we have our marquee, Sir Cake Dwarf.
Do, 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 do.
Our reincarnator tier, we've got Moon.
Broken him.
Last but not least, our commoner tier, we've got
Last Man on Earth, and
Rena. Thank you so much to all our patrons.
Thank you, Brad, for putting up with that. Thank you, our patrons. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Make sure you listen to all the podcasts on our feed. And, oh my gosh, I am so done with all these manga. I cannot stand a Lover Light novel. I'm not recording any more of these. Ah!
What Moxie actually means is that this is not for them. They didn't enjoy this, but they can see the merits of it. And for other people, it should be fine. Thanks.
Toss in a bit how I still respect them.
I feel like there's got to be a better translation of that.
Of what?
The name of this.
The case where I followed the freezing lady and she doted on me like crazy.
I think
doted is such an interesting word to find in there, though, isn't it?
I think there's not a better one because of the fact that it's so new and there's like no official English or anything.
I would have said chilly, at least. Because it's like the idea like she is cold. You just cold lady. While we're still being like not like artsy about it. While we're translating and not like localizing.
It would be something where it was like, I'm the cold Duke's daughter's attendant, but she dotes on me like crazy. Or something like that.
No, but I feel like it's important. Why is it the case where I followed? Know. Like, I feel like freezing lady is important to be like, she is a tsundere. She is cold normally. She's not cold. She's hot. She's bristly. She talks shit all the time.
On today's episode, the case where I followed the freezing lady and she doted on me like crazy.
Are you doing it or am I doing it?
I figured I'd do it since I brought it.
Okay. I respect that.
Not an Issa 9, but...
Not an Issa 9. Do you mind if I do one just for fun?
This is Issa 9 adjacent.
Yes.
Yeah, go for it.
I always feel like the light novels don't need a preamble line because they are themselves the preamble line. Hubba hubba. Okay, I need to like talk with you first to do this one. I feel like I want to do you have to be my rage translator on this one, but I'm trying to figure out what the bit is.
Brad, I'm so fucking done with this goddamn manga. It's so awful. It's like the worst thing I ever read.
Do you just want to straight up do the gaslight version of it?
Well, what Moxie means is that this isn't really for them, and
yeah, okay,
but it's good enough, and there's some funny bits in it.
Okay. And then it cuts to the credits.
The credits?
The credit music.
Oh,
even though I know the credits have already happened at this point. Fucking the mag jump music continues to remain so perfect. Like this is where I can't I feel. I mean, also we've been using